What's going on, everybody? It's a Creative Fro checking back in for another episode of Fireside Tech. I hope you enjoyed your week and are ready to learn something new, because today we're going to be diving behind the camera and I'm going to be showing you how to set up a dual camera recording. Now, before I dive into today's tutorial, don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button if you have yet to already, and also turn that notification bell on just for fun. If you didn't get a chance to see, this past Wednesday we uploaded a video going over what a dual camera recording does, how it works, and what I wish I knew about it when I first started out. So if you have yet to see that, pause this video and go check that out, and you should be all set up to speed. For today's tutorial, we'll be using the creative space, and I'll get a dual camera recording set up, and I'll go behind the camera to show you what settings I use to get the most optimal footage to match in post. Without any further ado, let's get inside that creative space and start to create. So right now we are currently inside of the creative space, and I'm getting ready to set up the dual camera recording. But one thing I wanted to mention before we get started is, if you do not have two of the same camera bodies to shoot with, like two Sonys, two Canon, two Panasonic, the next best thing you can do is try to get the camera bodies to shoot with the same lenses. So here on the Canon M5 I have the Sigma 10 to 20 millimeter, and with the Sony a6300 I'll be using the Sigma 30 millimeter f1 lens. So this should be able to match up a little bit easier. That helps when you don't have the same camera body. So let's get into our first step, is make sure that it's level. Now, to make sure it's leveled, we're going to use the screen on here and our little bubble level on top of the tripod. So right now our bubble is looking about level, and on the screen here you can see that the level is even. So our level is all set. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is work on the focus. So what I'm doing is I have a camera in manual focus, so everything that you can see in red right now is in focus. Since this is our wider shot, what I'm going to do right now is just zoom in a little bit tighter and bring the aperture up a little bit more, because I notice on this camera when the aperture isn't high enough I won't get my face in focus. So I think f11 should be good. Bring in the focus ring a little bit more, bring out some of that red. Awesome. When I see the red behind everything, that it's all going to be in focus. Another thing you could do is get a little teddy bear and put it on the chair and make sure that teddy bear's face is in focus if you're not too sure. But since I've done this a few times, I know that that's going to be in focus. Now, so we have the level and our focus correct. Let's move on to the next step. So next thing we're going to take a look at right now is the picture profile. So I'm going to hit OK on here, and we're going to go to this picture style. And now, when I want to match these cameras, I want the picture profile to be the same. So Sony's picture profiles don't necessarily match Canon, so what I try to do is turn them both off. But with Canon, you can't have it totally off. So what I did is I went into the custom picture style here. So I went into info. I try to turn down the strength, finesse, the threshold, the contrast, saturation, the color tone, and I brought them all down to 0, except I couldn't get the finesse down to 0, so I just kept these both at 1. But I noticed now that I have these all zeroed out, it matches the Sony better. Now, last thing we have to match up here is going to be the white balance. So we're going to choose, I'm going to be doing Kelvin, because I'm going to have the two lights pointing towards me and they're going to be at 55 Kelvin. So this is where I want to be, because I'm going to make sure camera B is at the same spot. One last thing is the microphone. So you want to make sure you have a microphone on each camera. This one I'll be laved up. So lav is going to be on me and receiving the audio through here. And that's how this camera is going to get its audio. And then that's just the setup of it there. Tripod all leveled out. We should be good to go. Let's move to camera B. And here is camera B. So for this camera, since it's a tighter shot, this one's a little bit harder to match up. I have the teddy bear over there to help this process. So what I'm gonna do first is make sure that this is leveled. And this one doesn't have a bubble on it, so I'm just gonna have to level it from using this top of the camera head here until this line goes green. So let's do that. So now our camera is all leveled out. You can see the green lines right there. So we know our level is set. So now our next thing is working on the focus. So what I want to do is just make sure that when I'm using the zoom in magnifier here, and let's use the time right over here. Let's use the time on the screen on the computer as a reference for a focus point. So if that is all red, that should be in focus. And bingo, so I'm gonna hit the camera button to get back out of that. And now we get this screen. So as you can see, this whole bear, the outline of its body is red. I know it's kind of hard to tell with that pink body, but it's red. So if I sit down in that chair over there, this whole side of my face should be in focus, because that I pulled the focus over on the computer screen, that anything around the area is going to be in focus. So we'll know this is a good shot here. And it's a tight shot. So this is our camera B, which is typically what you want the second angle to be, is a little bit tighter in on the action. In order to get to our picture profile on the Sony camera, I just hit the menu button and we're gonna go over until we see picture profile. And down here, you can see that it's off. So there's a whole bunch in there that you could pick, but since I'm doing the dual camera recording, I'm gonna make sure that it's off and that I can match my Canon camera with that Sigma lens to its best ability. And now all we have to do is make sure our white balance is set at 55 Kelvin. And if you go over here, you can see my white balance is set at 55 Kelvin. So we should be good to go for this shoot. You wanna remember the mic. I'm gonna turn it on and make sure that we get this audio. So now we have camera A set up and B set up. It's all leveled. The white balance is the same. Picture profiles are off. So now the only thing left to do is show you a little test. I'll jump on the chair right now and I'll get a test recording. We'll jump back and forth the camera so you can see how the shots look for yourself. I had to bring Carly in. Camera B was not focusing using that teddy bear. So now you can see that focus is on her face, and I'll be able to sit there in that spot after she leaves and I will be in focus. So let's jump behind the camera. Thank you. So now when you go into post-production, those 3 claps will be easy for the computer to determine where it needs to match these clips together, and the audio and visuals will stick together, and then you could just multicam edit from there. So let's do a practice test just looking at these cameras now so you could get a good feel of how this works. So right now I'm just speaking to camera A, and camera B is off to my right-hand side. So now we're gonna switch over to camera B, and now you can see here with camera B, this is a tighter shot on me. And we framed it up with using Carly sitting here first. So then when she moved out of the way, the manual focus was set here. So now that I'm sitting here, I should totally be in focus. Back to camera A, we have a wider shot. I zoomed in a little bit with the lens just to make it tighter than it was before to not see so much of the room. But if you really wanted to, you could open this up as wide as it goes, because with this camera, we're really focusing on the whole landscape of things. But with camera B, it's gonna be more of that tighter shot, really focusing in the action and getting those emotions of the subjects in music videos, live performances, or anything that you really are shooting. So that's pretty much how the dual camera setup works, and that's my process of balancing the cameras, making sure the white balance is right, and this helps my post-production process a lot more too as well. So why don't we jump back in front of that fire and wrap this video up. So that's how I go about setting up a dual camera recording. I hope everybody got a better visual understanding of how this works and can use it on your next upcoming project. Please like the video if you did, comment down below if there's anything you want to see for Fireside Tech, and share this video if you think it could help somebody. I hope you enjoy your upcoming week and crush it. I cannot wait to see you next Sunday back in front of this fire again. It's a Creative Fro, and I'm out.